Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. If you've been paying attention to the news lately, you're probably confused about a bunch of things, but you know one fact for sure. James Comey is a better person than you are. He's a virtuous man, honest, decent, chivalrous. Integrity might be his middle name, though he would never admit it because he's also incredibly humble. Comey doesn't make the kind of grubby moral compromises that characterize your sad, mediocre life. Like Lincoln or the Buddha, Comey's ideals are high, and he lives them. He has said that repeatedly in cable news interviews, so obviously it is true. How good a person is Jim Comey? Well, consider what he decided to do when he left the FBI. He's not giving lectures on law enforcement matters, on how to unravel international money laundering rings or stop drug trafficking. That would be too obvious, too temporal. Instead, Jim Comey is teaching the rest of us about leadership, how to be better people. His is a moral mission.
I could be useful by offering people a vision of what ethical leadership looks like.
It's hilarious, actually. But it's not that surprising. Keep in mind that hypocrisy is the signature fact of this moment, 2018. Whatever public figures are scolding you for doing, they are almost certainly doing themselves, and avidly, if in secret. The ones who lecture you about feminism turn out to be sexual predators. Every anti-gun activist seems to have an armed bodyguard. In a world like that, it is not surprising that James Mr. Integrity Comey left the FBI in an ethical cloud. The DOJ's long-awaited Inspector General's report apparently accuses Comey of ignoring the directives of his superiors, of being insubordinate in order to pursue his own agenda. That is not a small charge in a law enforcement agency, but again, it's not surprising in this case. Danny Colson is a former Deputy Assistant Director of the FBI, and he joins us tonight. Mr. Colson, thank you for coming on.
No, thank you. I enjoyed your monologue. That was awesome.
Well, it was heartfelt. And none of this is surprising because it's always the people accusing you of something who are doing that very thing. But I still am a little shocked by what we know, what we think we know. I mean, there are leaks about this IG report, and we'll see. It's coming out 500 pages or so soon. But from what we think we know, Comey is being accused of insubordination, which is not a small thing in the FBI. Is that correct?
Oh, no, it's ground for dismissal. Absolutely. That's you have to follow orders, and they have to be lawful orders. But you're obliged to follow them. If you don't, then they get rid of you, and rightly so. So assess
what we think the IG report says about how he handled the Hillary Clinton email investigations in light of your own experience working on big investigations like Iran-Contra, which you were involved in. What do you think of the job he did?
Well, I think we'd have to do a term paper on that, Tucker. You could do a master's thesis on all the things that went wrong in that case. From the very first day he did his press conference where he exonerated Hillary Clinton and then reopened the case on the Anthony Weiner matter, we all knew that was wrong. That's something you don't do. You don't have to have the IG tell you that. If you ever commanded a major investigation or a field division, you know you do nothing that will affect the outcome of a political of an election. And he ignored that. I was flabbergasted when I saw him do it. And then we could go on and on and on about how he didn't let the FBI do his job. He acquiesced to not having a grand jury, which I was only there 31 years, and I never saw that, but maybe I missed something. And then he called it a matter, acquiesced to Loretta Lynch's demand that he called it a matter. You know, being a leader doesn't mean you sail in calm waters. Being a leader means you fight the headwinds, you fight the storms, and you lead your agency appropriately. He just didn't do that. He never put on his FBI hat. He always wore his Department of Justice hat and made decisions he had no business making. So I have a big problem with his.
So I want to go back to something you just said. You said you were there for 31 years. You saw a lot of investigations take place, and you'd never seen a situation like this where a grand jury wasn't called. Is that what you said?
Absolutely, that's what I said. From the most minor investigation to those major investigations, you cannot do your job as an agent or a commander or a prosecutor without a grand jury. And the fact that this is a major investigation of national importance, and he acquiesced to not being allowed to have a grand jury, he should have gone to Congress. He should have demanded an independent counsel. He should have done a lot of things. You have to buck the headwaters sometime, and he didn't do that. And I think it frankly showed a lack of courage.
Why do you think they didn't want a grand jury?
They didn't want to find out what happened. But it's very simple. If you bring people in for the grand jury, you can get grand jury subpoenas. You can compel testimony. You can grant immunity. You can subpoena documents and information. And without that tool, you're just begging for cooperation. The FBI never looked at the Democratic Party, the server that the Democrats had to manage that was supposedly hacked. They never got that. They said no. Well, if you don't have a grand jury, you're not going to get it. So, this isn't Boy Scouts going on and trying to sell you some candy or something. Then when the FBI comes with a grand jury subpoena, you comply. And if you don't have a grand jury subpoena, you're not going to find out what happened, and clearly they did not.
What this story is needed from day one is perspective on how the FBI in functional times operates, and you just provided that, and I really appreciate it. Mr. Carlson, thank you for that.
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
Congressman Eric Swalwell represents the state of California. He is on the House Intelligence Committee. He's been at the center of a lot of the Russia investigation from day one. He joins us tonight. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Of course. Hey, Tucker, before we start.
Yeah.
You were born in San Francisco?
Yes, I was.
I represent that area?
Yes.
Can we at least agree we're both rooting for the Golden State Warriors tonight in the finals?
No.
Oh, Tucker. It's going to be a long night. It's going to be a long night.
I've given up California, sadly. I wish I hadn't. But so let me ask you this. I'm sure you're as offended on some level as a Hillary voter as I am by what we're learning from this IG report. Apparently, we don't have the report, but that Comey went against orders by going out in the final days of the campaign and saying that they're reopening this investigation into Hillary Clinton. That probably hurt her. I'm not for Hillary, but I think it did. I think it's clear. Why would you want to lionize someone who would do that? Why is he a hero on the left just because he hates Trump? Is that what it is?
First, it's really shocking to hear all of this outrage now from Republicans that, we were doing this to Hillary Clinton. How dare they? I didn't hear any of this during the campaign.
You heard it from me. I said it. I did say that.
Donald Trump was cheerleading James Comey opening up this case.
Maybe, but I thought it was totally bizarre when he did it.
Look, I'm going to wait for the IG report. I'll say this. Jim Comey is an imperfect man. Yeah. All of us are, but imperfect people are still capable of telling the truth and being consistent. On the issue of Russia, he has gone to Congress a number of times, raised his right hand, put himself under oath, and has been consistent. That's something that the president is not willing to do with Bob Mueller. So right now we have uncontroverted evidence from James Comey. That's not lionizing him. That's saying that's the only evidence right now that exists.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was consistent, but I'm just interested if you could explain to me, this has been a debate we've had on the show 20 times, but it's still unsettled in my mind. Why is it okay for an administration to hire an informant to spy on a rival political campaign without telling them? Why is that okay? Are you comfortable with that?
Well, that's not what happened. And actually,
how is that not what happened?
We learned today that every person who's been briefed on this, except Chairman Nunes, now says that the president's account of this, that a spy was put in his campaign, is just not true.
No, I know that there's a lot of lying about it, but I'm not those people.
From the Republicans.
I'm not the president. Here's what I read in the New York Times, and what I think has never been contested, that the Obama administration paid an informant to spy on the Trump campaign and then pass that information back to the Obama administration and never told the Trump campaign. Is that incorrect? What am I missing?
Yeah, well, Tucker, I'm not going to go into classified information. I'll tell you that.
No, that's not classified. That's known. That's in the public, and the Washington Post and the Wall Street Journal, and nobody has said that's untrue. Are you saying that's untrue?
I'm saying that informants are commonly used in a lot of cases to help us catch bad guys. If it was used here,
but
from the evidence I have seen, that would have been appropriate.
No, but you just said.
But from the evidence I will say this, from the evidence I have seen, from the FISA applications I've reviewed and the witnesses we've interviewed, we would want to know everything about how close the Trumps were getting to the Russians.
Okay, but
and yes, through informants, yes.
Okay, so
I'm okay with that.
That's somehow incorrect? So I guess what really bothers me is the Orwellian lying going on around this. I just stated what I think are facts. You conceded they're facts. And yet that's not spying. How is that not spying?
No, spying is what you do against an enemy, right?
Well, first of all,
that's what spying is.
No, and spying is what
helping
you
your
do.
government.
No, you can spy on people you love. You can spy on your own children. It doesn't need to be an enemy. That you're expanding the definition into some made-up land.
Well, would you?
Why is that not spying? If I am watching you without your knowledge, gathering information on you without your knowledge, don't tell you about it, I'm spying on you.
But if a candidate for the highest office in the land is drawing himself, his family, his businesses to a foreign adversary, wouldn't we want our government to do everything we can to know what they're doing and then hopefully try and stop that adversary?
But just one thing at a time. Well, you can see that's spying.
No.
It's not spying.
And
you're secretly gathering
everyone but
information
Devin
on
Nunes
someone,
has admitted
but it's
that.
not spying.
Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, Trey Gowdy, they all said it's not spying.
I think that what McConnell and Gowdy and Ryan have said is ludicrous, and I've invited all of them on this show to answer the same questions I'm posing to you, which is, when you're spying on someone, how is it not spying? And of course, they won't come on because they're too afraid.
Do you think the government
They're
should use
always welcome
informants?
to come on.
But do you think the government should use
I
informants
think
to
an
prove case?
administration should have a really good reason before putting a spy in a rival presidential campaign, and I think all of us should be completely freaked out about it, and we should want to know why this happened, but we don't.
I absolutely agree with you, Tucker. I absolutely agree with you. You should have a damn good reason if you're going to use an informant, use wiretaps, use a FISA application on a presidential campaign.
But hold on,
the evidence I've seen, though, gave plenty of damn good reasons.
But tell me why
they
it's
were
not
too close to the
Russians.
Russians.
Hold on, just make me feel better, and tell me why spying on the Trump campaign was not spying. Just speak slowly so I can understand.
It was not spying what they were doing.
So what was it?
They were conducting a criminal investigation. And in criminal investigations, when you have probable cause signed off by a judge, you can conduct what they did.
But it's not spying because, I mean, look, I'm not asking whether it was justified or not. I just want to start with the definition. Everyone's telling me, including Paul Ryan and Trey Gowdy, those people I'm supposed to respect, I guess, it wasn't spying. Okay, tell me how it wasn't spying. Why is it not spying? They're lying to me. And I find it very frustrating. Let's just be honest about what it was, and then we can move to whether it was okay.
What it was a presidential campaign willing and eager to work with the Russians, and they were doing everything they could to learn more. I want our government to do that, whether it's the Russians, the Chinese, the Iranians,
no,
the
that's
North Koreans.
not.
And whether it's Democrats or Republicans.
Hold on. You're allowed to work with anyone you want. You're allowed to say, I want closer ties with this or that country.
Really?
Canada's, yes,
you
are.
You want that?
Yes, in a free country, you're allowed to have different foreign policy
I hope
views.
that changes tomorrow, and here's what I'm talking about.
You think you're not allowed to have different foreign policy views from yours?
No, I'm introducing Tucker, I'm telling you this first. I'm introducing legislation tomorrow. It's called a Duty to Report Act. It says if you're a federal campaign, family member of a campaign, and you're approached by an agent of a foreign power who's given you unsolicited information in a campaign, you have to tell somebody. Ivanka, Donald Trump Jr.,
an agent
business.
of a foreign power.
Yeah.
Let me just,
Go ahead.
as I've said this before, I know you're new to D.C.
Yeah.
I would say a third of the city are agents of foreign powers.
Yeah,
not of Russia.
We don't want them helping us.
No, I don't. You know what? I think all of them should leave. But I'm just telling you
we want diplomatic
what you
relations.
already know, which is this city is filled with people acting on behalf of foreign governments.
And when they start to meddle in elections, that's wrong.
No, they go
and you should
up,
have to tell somebody.
Yeah, they go up to your building every single day and try and win over your colleagues, and nobody says anything about it.
That should be illegal. But if you're trying to give dirt on a campaign, and we just learned today, Ivanka was trying to make connections with Moscow during the campaign.
Look, I've said
like the bingo card has been filled now.
Ivanka is definitely a foreign agent. Consider her name. It doesn't sound American, does it? We should deport her. Okay, but I just want you to be honest. I want Speaker Ryan to be honest. I want everyone just to be honest that this was spying, and I guess that's cool with you. But it was spying, and to lie to us and say it was something else entirely is very frustrating.
If Speaker Ryan, Mitch McConnell, myself, Trey Gowdy, Adam Schiff, if we all agree and you and Devin Nunes don't you think there's something odd there?
I just want you to explain how it wasn't spying, but you can't. None of you can because it's propaganda, actually.
It's informative investigation.
Okay, it sounds like really quick.
We want our government to do it. Yes.
We're hearing Democrats and some Republicans, honestly, say that it's immoral to separate families because of immigration law, that when you detain someone who's broken immigration law and you separate him from his family, it's immoral. When you detain an American citizen for breaking the law, you separate him from his family, but no one complains. Why is that?
Yeah, well,
why should illegal aliens get special standards?
Yeah, look, if an American committed a violent crime,
any crime. If I get caught shoplifting, I get arrested, and I'm separated from my kids, and that's okay with you.
You're typically not held in custody for months.
I don't know. I might be.
No, I was a prosecutor. You wouldn't be. I met with
yes. People are detained all the time for nonviolent crimes.
I met with a woman yesterday, Miss Guzman from Hayward, California. She told me the story of being separated from her son for months and her 15-year-old daughter as well. It's heartbreaking. All she was trying to do was seek asylum.
Okay, she wasn't even. What about Americans who break the law? I don't think you seem upset at all about them being separated from their kids. Why is that?
No, I don't want anyone who is nonviolent, non-sexual criminal to be separated from their families.
Because people go to jail for many years for nonviolent crimes all the time.
We should reduce that too.
Bernie Madoff did. He was separated from his family. Did you cry about that? No, I'm serious. It was a nonviolent crime.
No, separating a mother from their child. That is breaking the strongest bond that exists on this earth.
Martha Stewart was separated from her daughter. She's a mother. Yeah. She went to prison.
A mother from a non-adult child. Tucker.
A non-adult child. So anybody who commits a crime with non-adult, any woman who commits a crime with non-adult kids should not be.
There should be a really good reason. Jail. And immigration,
so the law
it's not a good reason.
should be different based on gender and parenthood.
No, well, mothers and children.
My wife will be happy to hear that.
Yeah, so would I.
Congressman, it's great to see you. The world is changing so fast. I just need someone to explain.
And go Dubs tonight.
Go Dubs. Thank you. Lou Dobbs will be here to react to the immigration story we just discussed, also respond to a new poll that shows basically everyone in America is more upset about immigration than they are happy about it. Why don't Republicans run on it then? Good question. That's next.